one of my personal missions has been for now well over 20 years has been to change the narrative and the view of Ron Hardy, because Ron Hardy is someone who you can't mention house music and not mention Ron Hardy, because technically Ron Hardy really is in my opinion, the true godfather of house, because Ron Hardy is the DJ who broke the acid sound. Ron Hardy is the DJ who broke a lot of things because he was also accessible. So he would play these young producers' tracks and things like that. A lot of other people weren't, and then as well they jumped on the bandwagon later. But there was one time you could not deny this brother's power and impact, especially on this culture. And for some people to get in the press, and then the first thing they mention is, he had a habit, and they talk about that. But it's like, so many people have talked about that to the point that those same quotes that were made over 20, 25 years ago are being used. So that's the image that's being projected, out there of this guy. And then the other thing is, I know some of his family. So there's things that, like Ron's mother, bless her soul, she couldn't see some of this stuff because it reminds, a parent doesn't want to, see something bad or negative, about the child. So, because it's just rehashing trauma. So that's why I also make it, I make sure that I am telling a proper narrative of the history, my experiences, and things like that. Because this stuff, once it's down, it's out. So you have to make sure that you're saying, the right thing, because as well, people can misquote things. People will only focus in on certain things just for a reason. And yeah, so it's very good now to see that a lot of things regarding Ron Hardy are changing and he's getting his just due. I was part of the benefit with the Hardy family and Terry Hunter and so many of us from Chicago to put on this benefit to get him a headstone. That happened. That was like one of my personal missions to I always wanted to do and help make happen. So I was very honored to be a part of that, to see him get, his just due and things like that. And he influenced so many people and generations of people. So if it wasn't for the internet, this brother would just be an enigma. So I'm kind of glad that,
Yeah.
He's getting his shine.
Well, thank you.
And
Thank you so
well
much
deserved.
for sharing all this. This is like giving me another perspective, like even me, being a lover of house music and disco for many years. And I feel very privileged, and thank you for that, man. That was awesome.
Because,
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Because
No,
I
no.
was going to say, the thing about Ron Hardy, the other thing about Ron Hardy was I followed him until he couldn't, till he couldn't play anymore. So I actually saw him like going down, in regards to his popularity, and from him pulling in hundreds of thousands of people to me being at some places and it wasn't that many people, but I followed him, till I couldn't follow him anymore, because it's like I was a hardcore fan. So once again, I understand that from a party person's perspective in regards to their favorite DJs or things like that. Once again, I understand it because I come from it. So, that's one thing that as well, it's like, you have a lot of people who tell a story about him and they're like, yeah, it's just like the glory days, but it's like you don't talk about this other period, or when he was pushing nothing but new songs and new current music. So it's like, especially in like from 90 to 91, he really was playing and breaking a lot of, now that's classic house music, regarding like some sounds from New York and things like that. So yeah, so it's like I can talk about that, and some people can't because once again, I was there, and some people it was like I said, it was like a shift. So I was younger, so he still was was the bomb to me versus older people who were like, okay, yeah, we're over this kiddie kind of stuff, and now we're in clubs or we're, doing this or doing that. So yeah, he most definitely was a huge influence on me, and a few others who also don't get their just right, as well as like Lil Lewis. He's someone who really should be getting a lot more love and attention as being a godfather of this, especially in Chicago, because he took things to another level. He was one of like the first DJs of many, but he took it to a whole nother level where he was the DJ, the promoter, the artist. Prior to that, promoters brought in DJs and put on events. He was the one that did everything, himself, and brought thousands of people together and had people in, us teenagers in these ballrooms and hotels downtown, but his parties and events were just on a whole nother level. And once again, it influenced a whole nother generation, 2 generations actually. So yeah, most definitely.
It seems like over time, like, and I see this as a pattern in other like in other histories of music, and it seems like there's a pattern where eventually there's some attention or focus towards some of these pivotal characters in history, and they eventually, like, someone will create a documentary and add more focus on these people. And let's hope that happens with these figures that you're discussing. These people, I've known of their names, and like I grew up in Sydney, Australia, and for me, house music and dance music culture came to me early 90s, and it was that Australia had its own rave scene and rave culture and dance scene from the 80s, and so that like people like these figures, it goes to show how powerful their impression was and how it trickled around the world and came to Sydney, came to Australia as well at the same time.